I'm just kind of ready for the next chapter and a new challenge in my life, but I think the reason I decided to announce it when I did was just to have that
The world of women's basketball is in shock when Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, and Lexie Hull shocked fans with a huge announcement just moments ago. The three of them stood side by side and made a daring new move that nobody had anticipated, surprising even league insiders, generating fan excitement, and changing the league's future. This is more than simply news, ranging from decisions to change careers to strong declarations of solidarity. It's a game share. What did they say that has people talking everywhere? This announcement is more significant than anyone anticipated, so stay tuned. A WNBA move that changed the game. A surprising partnership between three of the WNBA's most well-known players rocked the league on July 8, 2025. The 2024 top overall pick Caitlin Clark, whose debut season rekindled interest in women's basketball across the country, teamed up with emerging talent Lexie Hull of the Indiana Fever and Phoenix Mercury veteran Sophie Cunningham. The three of them met for more than just a quick conversation. Behind the scenes at the Indiana Fever training facility, what sources are describing as an orchestrated expose took place, igniting urgent discussions in boardrooms and locker rooms. These three came together for reasons other than personal ambition, despite coming from different teams and being at quite different phases of their careers. Their united front suggests that a much bigger movement is emerging, one that aims to change the fundamentals of women's professional basketball. This occurs at a pivotal moment when the WNBA is seeing an all-time high in sponsorship deals, viewership, and international attention. However, gamers still have long-standing issues about compensation, career longevity, and the game's business behind the scenes. Clark offers a surge of new fan enthusiasm along with unrivaled star power. Cunningham provides the perseverance, insight, and earned respect of an experienced veteran. Even though she is just starting out, Hull represents the league's potential for the future. Their combined power suggests something more significant, such as new player rights demands, better compensation plans, better working conditions, or perhaps a player effort aimed at preserving and advancing careers from draft day until retirement. Whatever it is, the basketball community is closely watching them, and their timing is no coincidence. This partnership is noteworthy for bridging team rivalries and generational divides, demonstrating a level of togetherness that may alter the league's decision-making process. The trio's actions seem to indicate a desire for equity and opportunity, as well as a need to change the WNBA's perception of its players' worth in terms of long-term investment as well as marketing. They meet at a time when discussions about CBA negotiations, television rights, and league expansion are intensifying. These three are probably acting now because they think that by pooling their resources, they can finally move the needle in a way that will benefit all parties involved, past, present, and future. The power of players as social advocates, brand ambassadors, and now potentially as policy change makers adds urgency to this moment. In addition to attracting fans, Caitlin Clark's sold-out arenas and record-breaking TV ratings have also brought in corporate funding and media attention that the league had previously ignored. Cunningham's years of managing off-season deals abroad provide him a unique perspective on players' long-standing grievances regarding long-term financial viability. With her Stanford background and recent league debut, Hull also speaks for a generation that is still figuring out how to make basketball their life. They might be authoring the first chapter of a new age together, one in which women's basketball's future is genuinely secured by structural change brought about by visibility, in addition to sponsorships. What precisely are these celebrities planning? And might it permanently alter the WNBA?
Keep an eye out.
This is something you won't want to miss. Anticipation for the 2025 WNBA season is growing as star power meets purpose, and it goes beyond standings and scores. A distinct kind of game-changing momentum is subtly accumulating off the court. A calculated meeting between Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, and Lexie Hull on July 8th at the Indiana Fever training facility suggested something much more significant than a buzzer-beater victory. According to league insiders, this trio is getting ready to make a daring move that goes at the core causes of inequality in women's professional basketball. A persistent problem, player pay, is at the core of their cause. Even elite athletes frequently receive a small portion of the revenue generated by their talent for the WNBA, despite the league's increasing popularity and media attention. When Clark arrived in 2024, that reality changed. Her presence has resulted in record-breaking merchandise sales, crowded arenas, and TV ratings that have surpassed 1 million viewers. In a nutshell, Caitlin Clark has emerged as the largest financial force in the WNBA. However, she continues to function under a limited pay cap that undervalues her effect, much like her counterparts. Clark's enormous social media fanbase and commercial reach are comparable to, and occasionally surpass, that of male sportsmen in much larger leagues. Her voice is strong just because of that. With Cunningham's leadership and Hull's growing clout, you have a coalition that can take on antiquated structures. According to insiders, their efforts could have far-reaching effects. It might seek to improve working conditions, player pay, and league-wide regulations that affect all WNBA players, whether they are newcomers or seasoned pros. Additionally, if their movement is successful, it may serve as a model for women's sports in the future. The timing is what amplifies the effect of this. These three athletes are emerging at a time when the WNBA is best prepared for change, as the league is seeing historically high increases in both income and viewership. Their partnership may lead to a cultural revolution in addition to reforms, one in which players have more influence over the game's structure, branding, and business. They are demonstrating that real power in sports is more than just numbers by associating their influence with strategic objectives. The goal is to alter the system for future generations. How, therefore, might this silent campaign change the rules for all WNBA players? Keep an eye out. Everything is altered by this. The purpose of the movement. A more profound query starts to emerge as Caitlin Clark's every move comes under more and more scrutiny. How will she advance the game for everyone using this uncommon degree of influence? Her first season was more than just a highlight reel. It changed the WNBA's overall operations. However, according to insiders, Clark is now searching beyond personal documents and recommendations. Her discussions with Sophie Cunningham and Lexie Hull behind the scenes in Indiana seem to be setting the stage for something far more significant than individual achievements. Clark has the kind of influence that very few women's basketball players have ever had because of her prominence on the court and in the media. She also appears to realize that authority entails accountability. The problems are not new. Low pay, difficult travel circumstances, and no support for long-term growth. However, Clark's involvement in what might be a collaborative player-led project implies that she views her accomplishment as a means rather than an end in itself. Meanwhile, Sophie Cunningham offers the viewpoint and grit of someone who has experienced every aspect of the WNBA. The veteran of the Phoenix Mercury has witnessed personally how the present system pushes players to choose between passion and survival, having struggled through tight earnings and spent off seasons overseas simply to make ends meet. Despite playing under antiquated regulations and receiving little publicity, she contributed to the league's current rise in prominence. Her years of union advocacy combined with her international expertise make her a dependable voice advocating for change that is effective in reality rather than simply theory. Cunningham's insight and Clark's momentum combine to produce a unique alignment. The WNBA may need the trio's cooperation to transform growing attention into long-lasting change, especially since Lexie Hull is the league's future. Lastly, how did this odd combination end up being the WNBA's best chance for long-term change? See more truth by continuing to watch. The link between generations. In this developing movement, Sophie Cunningham's voice bears the burden of season after season of persevering under the constraints of a system that frequently provided insufficient compensation. She is more than just a seasoned athlete that was acquired by the Indiana Fever. She contributed to the WNBA's transformation from an underappreciated sport to one that made headlines. Her appearance next to Caitlin Clark is more than simply a token gesture. It is a calculated move. They create a unique fusion of momentum and history when combined. A real-life illustration of what transpires when past hardships and future promises collide. The potential implications of this marriage are already being noted by analysts. Something strong is indicated by Cunningham's readiness to collaborate with up-and-coming talents like Clark and Lexie Hull. A generational bridge inside a league in dire need of one. It serves as a reminder that progress is about creating something stronger together rather than eras replacing one another. Hull, a Stanford standout and 6th overall pick in the 2022 WNBA draft, comes next. Though she is still establishing her own path, she is mature enough to recognize the flaws in the system. She had a first-hand look at what organized support can accomplish thanks to her time at one of the top women's basketball teams. She now represents a growing generation in Indiana, where she shares the court alongside Clark and Cunningham. One that speaks to the aspirations and worries of numerous young athletes attempting to establish lasting careers in a league that is still vying for complete acceptance. Hull is more than just a gifted athlete. She represents change. Her choices over whether to go for security abroad, take advantage of off-season possibilities, or agitate for change domestically are indicative of the silent struggles that many young WNBA players face. Her participation in this expanding project also raises the possibility that those silent worries are finally being given a more unified and loud voice. How does their next action illustrate the issues that innumerable WNBA players are secretly facing? Watch this space to discover out. Many journeys, one voice. A unified front for long-term transformation. It's not simply the names involved that make this moment so special. It's the coherence and timing throughout the many phases of the career path. The three gifted athletes, Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, and Lexie Hull, are more than just that. They represent a variety of the WNBA. Rising future, senior leadership, and rookie potential. Their collaboration implies that there is more going on behind closed doors than just one player or group. It suggests a concerted effort to change the fundamental framework of women's professional basketball. Their partnership appears to be focused on addressing ingrained problems that players in the league have been dealing with for years rather than just their own objectives. Low pay, constrained earning opportunities, and the ongoing need to seek financial security elsewhere. Clark's celebrity attracts media attention and cameras. However, when combined with Hull's generational wisdom and Cunningham's tried-and-true expertise, this trio becomes a force that demands respect and attention. Real change frequently starts when athletes from different backgrounds band together and use their combined strength to demand more, as seen by previous instances in professional sports. The pattern is seen in everything from NBA lockouts to the US WNBA equal pay dispute. Reform is fueled by solidarity. And now that the WNBA is seeing unprecedented growth in media exposure, merchandise sales, and viewership, it could be time for players to reconsider their worth. Players continue to express dissatisfaction over salary caps and a lack of long-term stability, despite the fact that the current collective bargaining agreement provides certain protections and benefits. Global disparity only increases the pressure on WNBA leadership to change, as international leagues in Europe and Asia keep offering more lucrative contracts. Using the game.